3 things to ditch. Well, the standard answer to that question would be like a footprint, a rain cover and a chair. And sure, you can ditch those items if you want to go lighter, but today we will dig deeper into what we want to bring versus what we need to bring for a good and safe hiking experience. And not only that, I will also give you suggestions what you should consider using instead and how you can reduce your pack weight by making well thought out and clever choices. In the end, I will also spice everything up by giving you my very long list of gear not to bring as a bonus, so stay tuned. A lot of gear that we bring are not used or not needed, and mainly brought due to old habits or just in case scenarios. And the more time we spend on the trail, more and more of those items are left at home, and we get the confidence to bring less and not to pack our fears. Some items are brought for pure comfort, like a chair. It is a nice to have item, but not really necessary unless you have a back problem. I will go through a long list of such items later on, but now let's focus on the main thing this episode is all about: 3 to ditch and what to use instead. Food. Yeah, you need food, but probably not as much as you think. Bringing a lot of food just in case is not a good idea because of the weight. Food is a very big part of the weight in your backpack. This is mainly due to one of the biggest fears that people have: to go hungry. You roughly use about 4,000 calories a day if you're hiking like 8 to 9 hours, but you don't need to bring that much. If eating 1,500 calories less per day, you will lose a little bit of weight, maybe 1 to 2 kilos per week, but for most people this is not a problem for hikes up to a couple of weeks. For long distance hiking, this is a completely different story, and food needs to be prepared in much more detail. I usually bring like 2,500 calories per day, and I don't go hungry, I promise. And if you focus on high energy food, you can count like 500 to 600 grams of food per day. Nuts, oils and fat are 3 with very high energy count. And I'm not telling you to survive on these 3 only.
No.
That wouldn't be very nice. But adding 1 tablespoon of oil into your dinner could add as much as 135 calories, and 100 grams of peanuts as much as 600. As a general recommendation, I would also say as a max, bring a couple of Snickers bars or something extra for emergencies. Nothing more is needed. I say ditch your fears about going hungry and bringing too much food, and ditch the idea that you need to compensate for all the energy that you lose during your hike, and you won't die eating a little bit less for a couple of days. It is very common to overthinking water and to bring too much. A lot of people bring all the water that they need for a day or 2 or even 3 days, which I believe to be a really bad solution because of the weight. Unless, of course, you're hiking in an area with no water. A lot of people also bring big and heavy bottles, and also too many bottles for what they actually need. I would say ditch those Nalgene bottles, ditch aluminum and steel bottles, and ditch too many containers for water. You only need a pair of lightweight bottles, like PET bottles or smart water bottles that you get for free when buying water, soda or juice, and then buy a water filter like the Ketodine Be Free or the Soy Squeeze. This can't be talked about too often, because I often hear people say that you don't need to filter your water and it is okay to drink directly from the lakes and the streams. And others say you should boil the water, and some say that the filters, they don't work. This is of course not true. Sure, if hiking in remote places, water can be fine to drink as it is, and sure, you can boil the water, but that takes a lot of time and fuel, so not a very efficient way of doing it. And the filters work, and they are super easy to use, and a good insurance you won't get sick, like in stomachache or diarrhea. This is the small set I normally bring: the Ketodine Be Free water filter, the Cenoc 2-liter bag for collecting dirty water, and 2 50 centiliter wide mouth PET bottles. All in all, a 3-liter capacity at 169 grams. You could go lighter, but I kind of like the Cenoc bag for how easy it is to collect the water and to be able to carry 3 liters if I need to. For more information regarding filters, do check out my 2 videos about the 2 most popular filters out there by clicking the links up in the corner, or browse through my videos and look at the reviews on the K2 Free and the Soy Squeeze. And I promise you, this is the way. Of all the things I could have picked, which is a really long list and that I will talk about a little bit later on, I chose camp shoes. Because I can't understand the reason to bring camp shoes. In my head, I can of course see the added comfort in camp. A nice pair of Crocs to be used in camp, letting the feet breathe and avoid stepping on pine needles and such.
Nice.
But a need to have? No. I can also see the need for a pair of camp shoes if you're doing a lot of water crossings and if you're using trail runners or boots with the Gore-Tex. That way you get like a multiple use out of them, and that is always nice. But a need to have? Well, yeah, then okay, if you use that type of shoes. But instead, if using trail runners without Gore-Tex and with a good drainage, you don't need to take them off and you can just keep on hiking over any water crossing, and that is nice. And then you don't need a pair of camp shoes. And when in camp, you can just loosen the laces, remove the inner sole and use them barefoot. No socks or anything, just let your feet breathe. And if the trail runners is wet, they will also dry quicker using them like this, so that's a bonus. This is not a hack, this is just pure common sense. Ditch those camp shoes. Couple of times during this episode I have promised you a very long list of things that I don't believe that you should bring on a hike. And now it is time to deliver. Some of them will be like comfort items, and some of them will be like unnecessary things that I don't think you should bring on a hike and that are just added weight in your backpack. Are you ready? Here it is. Rain cover, footprint, chair, spare clothes, a knife, multi-tool, a saw, an axe, fire steel, deodorant, soap, towels, lantern, flashlight, earbuds, coffee makers, and a drying line with a couple of clothespins. These are things that I quite often see people bringing, some more common than others of course, but what I believe you should consider leaving at home, and think of it as bringing only the essentials, and be sure not to pack your fears. Be smart and do smart choices for a lighter pack and a better hiking experience. That was my thoughts regarding 3 to ditch, beside the most obvious ones. And I'm sorry if I mentioned maybe your favorite piece of gear, and I hope you enjoyed this episode anyways. If you have anything to add to the list of things not to bring, or if you think I'm completely wrong and maybe a little bit stupid, please leave a comment and tell me all about your thoughts. But for now, this is it, and if you liked today's episode, take a look at these 2 recommendations on my other videos. Also do hit like, subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on any future content. I hope to see you again next week, but for now take care, safe hiking and bye bye.